question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Saturday night. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. It is episode 87 of the Throwdown with Matt, and tonight we are throwing down with Iowa-based wrestler Tori Fox. How you doing tonight, Tori?
I'm good. Feeling
awesome.
Feeling excited. How are you?
It has been a great day. It really has.
Good.
It's been this week at work was entirely insane. So it's been nice to finally have the weekend be here. But
relax.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll go ahead and say to anybody watching this live, if you have questions or comments, throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A session at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and most obvious question, Tori, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
So I've been wrestling since September of 2024. I've always, wanted to do it, didn't know when, but that was my starting point. So not too long, still very new.
Gotcha. And so Black and Brave was really your initial training.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely picked a good place to go.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I got there and I was like, I feel like I'm meant, like this was the school for me. Like you just get a feeling.
So how did the Black and Brave opportunity come about for you? Because I know there's a waiting list and everything to get in there. How did all of that come about?
Mm-hmm. So a couple of years ago, I believe it was 2022 summer, me and my best friend actually took a trip out there because we're from Wisconsin. So it was like a 3-hour drive. And we actually went there wanting to just go like check out the school and see what it was about. And so, we walked by and we got to like peek in and I got to see like the ring and the belts. And I was like, this is awesome. So I texted my mom and I was like, this is like really cool. Like, I can't wait to do this one day. And she was like, apply like now. And I was like, I have no money to do that. And she was like, we'll help you out. Like, you're there and you see it. Like, we want you to apply now. So I applied. Yeah, right after we got back to the hotel. And I, sent in the application and they sent me an email the next morning and they were like, congratulations, like you're in September 2024. And I was over the moon. Like,
oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of the early portions of the training, what would you say was the most difficult aspect of professional wrestling for you to wrap your mind and body around?
I went into it thinking it was going to be all physical. like all physical pain and torture. And I got there, and as I went along, like that's not the case. Like, yes, it is physically challenging and pushes you to your limit, but the mental aspect is just insane. Like, it is the hardest thing I have ever had to do. And a lot of it was mental. And there were just so many days where I would wake up and be like, I can't do this. Like, it's like, ugh. The initial like training like with the class was just so hard for me, just so mentally challenging because I deal with a lot of internal anxiety and self-doubt and getting those flashbacks to like people in high school telling me that I couldn't do it, and it's just really hard to combat that like initially.
Right, right. Um, so, uh, from what I've seen, just kind of doing a deep dive on your social media, it appears that you have recently aligned yourself with Mark Storm in SCW. How did that come about? That it looks like a good pairing.
Yeah, so in our school, there's like a big ratio of like men to women graduates. So they don't really have anything for me wrestling wise right now because a lot of the women are in different states. So
Right.
I was just kind of going to shows and, kind of helping out. And Mark Storm comes up to me and he's like, Abbott, I have an idea that I want to pitch to you. And I was like, okay, like I'm open to anything. Let me hear it. And he thought that, so he manages John Bonhart, who is in an SCW as well. And he was like, we think you'd be a great fit for us. And we would love to bring you on as like another valet because we feel like you really fit our aesthetic well. And he was right. And, he wanted me to get into the business like as quickly as possible. And I appreciate him a lot for that because I didn't really know how to bring it up that, I want to start getting involved more because I didn't know where to start. Like that was one of my biggest things was how am I going to start? What am I going to do?
Right.
So
a ton of unknowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, before, making the jump into professional wrestling, do you have, I'm just curious, do you have any kind of athletic background?
So I played varsity soccer,
Okay.
for my school for about 6 years. It was a very small private school, so not a lot of sports to pick from.
Right.
But I really, really loved soccer. I feel like it conditioned me a lot and strengthened my legs a lot.
Oh, for sure.
And I miss it like a lot. Like I miss being able to, play a sport like that. And that's why I love wrestling is because it makes me feel like I did when I was playing soccer. Like there's just nothing like it.
Oh, for sure. My son is he's a sophomore in high school and he's a lacrosse player and he just loves it,
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's something I would have loved to play, but we didn't have one. So we didn't have a lacrosse team.
It's a fun game. It is, and until he started playing it back in 6th grade, I didn't know anything about the game, and there's still a lot about it that I don't know, but it's fun. It is a blast to watch. So, I'm presuming that you've been a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, since 2010, 2011.
Gotcha. What would you say is your earliest wrestling related memory?
So it's definitely like the first time I saw it. My mom, her ex-boyfriend was really into wrestling and he'd watch it every Monday, every Friday. And I remember it so clearly. Like it was a Friday night, SmackDown was on, like they're watching it in the living room. I go out there for something and John Cena's on TV. And he was wrestling like I think like it was like the Big Show. And so I like stopped and I was kind of just watching it and I was like, well, this is awesome. Like I'm like, is this real? Like, how are they doing this? And I loved John Cena from the beginning. Like I knew there was something special about him. And then I remember that match ended and Kelly came out with the Divas, and I was like, girls do this? I was so intrigued by it, and I was like, that is definitely like what I want to do. Like, I couldn't explain it. It was so captivating to me.
Gotcha. Well, was there a particular point that you can remember anyway, where your fandom really turned and you started really thinking seriously, I think I could do this?
Definitely kind of when the women's revolution started.
Mhm.
It was trending on Twitter, they give divas a chance, and then they called Charlotte and Becky and Sasha and Bailey up. And that's when I was like, they're not being overlooked anymore, like as women's wrestlers. Like they're really putting them into the spotlight. And
Mhm.
because at that time, they were still kind of having like the 2-minute matches. I was like,
Right.
it was looking bad for a while.
Yeah.
But then they really like started to shine a spotlight on the women, and I was like, yeah, like I can do this.
Absolutely. I've been a fan of this stuff since I was 11, and I just turned 55 back in the fall. So I've been following this stuff for 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I love seeing what they're doing with the women now. Basically putting them on an equal footing as athletes with the men. Whereas like back in the Attitude Era, basically the women were just relegated to being eye candy, and
Absolutely.
so it really wasn't a fair environment.
Mm-mm.
And I just think it's really exciting that finally things are on kind of an equal footing, and and there is, with the rise of the indies and everything else, there is just so much opportunity in the wrestling business now for men and women. So it's really a great thing.
100%.
So, you probably saw this when you were watching the other night, but we do something here called the speed round game. And what it is, I've got a list of 10 names, and periodically I'm going to stop. I'll say speed round, and I'll name a name, and you just tell me the first things that pop into your head.
Okay.
So, speed round. Cody Rhodes.
Undashing.
Undashing. I like it. I like it a lot. Pretty soon he may be the man without a soul.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
I know that.
There
that
were
was
like, there were like
bizarre.
visible like question marks above my head. I was like,
that was bizarre. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, I don't know where all that's going, but I guess we're just along for the ride.
I hope it's worth it in the end. Like, I hope this is leading to something good.
Yeah, I do too. So, it sounds like your mom in particular has been very supportive, but in general, what does your family think of all of this?
So my dad, he, like, when I was in like middle high school, he's like, well, you gotta start working for it now. And I don't think it really clicked with him that like this is what I want to do. Like, I don't think he really took me seriously because I'm a big procrastinator. I can get lazy sometimes.
Can't we all?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And I don't think it really clicked with him. Like, until I got here, he was like, oh shit, like she's there. And like, he's always been like really supportive, but he's also kind of like that guy that's going to be like, you need to work like now for it. Like, you need to get up and go work for it. So, and then my mom kind of took like a different approach. Like, she wasn't like that as much, but she did it sometimes. But
right.
All my family has just been super supportive. They know that I've wanted to do this forever. And I think when I got here, they they were just proud of me that I got here and I signed up, and I'm trying, like, because I didn't know if I was gonna make it through the whole course. I didn't.
Right.
Like, but they never left my side, never doubted me. They never gave into my thoughts of like self-doubt or not being good enough to be here, and I owe them the world for that.
That's awesome. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
I really enjoy watching other sports. I love football, so I love when football season rolls around. It's something that me and my dad did as a bonding activity growing up, and now I have so much random football knowledge, like more than I should, so I love that. I love video games too.
Who are your teams?
I like the Packers. I'm an all Wisconsin sports girly. So
yeah.
Packers, Brewers, Bucks, Badgers, like just straight down the line.
Gotcha.
So yeah, video games. That's me pretty much.
Awesome. So, this is primarily a wrestling show, but we dabble a little bit into some pop culture. So, and I'm always looking for recommendations. Are you watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Oh gosh. So someone I'm listening to has definitely been Fozzie's opening band. They're the Nocturnal Affair. They're super good. Got the chance to meet them at the Fozzie concert.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're like a brand, like a type of rock that's like for everybody. Like it's not too heavy, it's not too light. Like I love them, and they're just really good people. So would definitely recommend them. As for TV, I like besides sports, I feel like I don't watch a lot of TV. But my favorite show of all time is The Golden Girls, and I will watch that over and over and over again. Like it's my comfort show.
You and my wife would get along well.
Oh,
she's a huge Golden Girls fan.
My whole family is. It's a classic.
Oh, for sure. So, let's see here. Speed round. Ricochet.
Underrated.
I'm really enjoying seeing him doing a heel run right now. It's just, he did some heel work when he was in Japan, but this is the first time, on a big platform, he's kind of doing some heel stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting seeing him explore that side of his character.
Yeah, because I feel like we really never got to see that in WWE. And,
right.
He was always just kind of like this mid-card baby face. So I love when, wrestlers go somewhere else that they're able to like explore a new side of their character, like Toni Storm being like the biggest example. Like she's doing the best work of her career.
For sure.
It is incredible that like what a change of environment can do to a person. I think it's awesome.
Right. So I know, the ultimate goal is to have wrestling be a full-time thing that pays all the bills. But I'm presuming at this point you still have an air quotes day job. What is your day job?
So I work at Hooters. I work at the Davenport Hooters, and I actually think it's kind of funny because Seth Rollins did do like a video on it a couple of years ago for WWE, and they walked in and did a tour, and they were like, we used to watch all the pay-per-views here, and I just think that's kind of cool. Like, I don't know, because like it's a little part of him, and now I'm working there. Like, I just think that's awesome. Like, I get customers all the time. Yeah, I get customers all the time, and they're asking about him or Merrick and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just work here.
Gotcha. So, when I had Trey on and was talking with him about the whole Black and Brave thing, he was hugely complimentary of both Merrick and Seth, and he said that Seth in particular can be very intense when he's in trainer mode. And would you concur with that?
Yes. 100%.
but it's a good intense. It's an
Yeah,
intense because he wants the best out of you.
he wants his
So,
students to succeed. Like, we are
yeah,
under his name, his brand. Like, of, I didn't expect him to like hold our hand and walk us through the process. Like,
right,
that's
right.
not how you
No,
make.
no,
Yeah,
no. So, where in Wisconsin are you from?
I'm from Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So, what would you say is your favorite thing about Milwaukee?
I absolutely love the downtown area, the east side of Milwaukee. I actually had to live there for a little bit. Living there is not fun. Like, street parking
Mm-hmm.
is a nightmare. But I feel like downtown is like where I made like a lot of my memories, like going to WWE live events, like at the arena, the Lake Michigan being right there. And there's just so many cool like landmarks, like statues and buildings. And I feel like I created a lot of like fond memories with my family and my friends there. And like, there's just nothing like it. I love it.
Gotcha, gotcha. So now that you're in Davenport, Iowa, what is your favorite thing about Davenport?
Oh gosh. That's a hard question because I don't know if I have a favorite thing yet. Like, I've been here since September. I officially moved here in December. But I feel like I'm busy all the time, so I never get to like explore a lot. Davenport does feel like a very, very smaller like Milwaukee in a sense, because like I do live in
Mm-hmm.
the downtown area. But honestly, when it's nice out, like walking around downtown here as well is nice because I like to discover like new little, thrift stores or, like local places to eat. So I don't know. I want to explore more. I just kind of don't know where to start.
Gotcha. We're actually getting a lot of traffic actually on the paired Twitch channel. Schmo40 says I just put it up on the screen. That's my girl right there.
Hi, Joe. Ugh. Also, a very
And
supportive friend.
yes, I can tell. And he actually posed this question for me, and that is, what would I say about your potential so far as just in the little bit I've gotten to know you? And I mean, I've got to say, I think you've got a ton of potential. I mean, you seem to have a good head for the business, and that's important, and you know, you can talk. You seem very at ease doing this, and that's a huge part of it,
Mhm.
in my opinion, anyway. So I mean, I'm quite impressed with what I'm seeing so far.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get back to the game here. Okay, so they say that the best wrestling personas are kind of yourself turned up to 11. So tell me about in-ring Tori Fox and kind of compare and contrast her with everyday you.
So, Merrick actually said the exact same thing when I was asking him about character. It's got to be you, but turned up by a lot. And I
Yeah.
feel like that helped a lot because I didn't go in with a specific character in mind. My parents growing up, they always told me like I had a really like out there personality. So I was going to use that to my advantage one day. So in ring Tori Fox, I feel like reflects me super well. And she is, I don't even know how to word this. She is like reflective of like more of like the inside me. Like there's just days where I want to scream at people and insult them and be loud and just show so much emotion. And she can do that. Like she is
Yep.
allowed to, scream at people and make fun of people and make them mad. Like there's so many days where people just get on my nerves and I can't do anything about it because, I want to keep my job or, I want to look
Yeah.
normal. And she's just not afraid to scream or say something that's going to hurt your feelings and just be like the center of attention. And I love it. Like I love screaming at people. Like I've always been loud. Like my parents always told me, like, you are the loudest person in the room wherever you are. And then she can just say whatever she wants, and she doesn't have to listen to anybody. And, you know, Mark Storm's right there with me. Like, he's going to back up whatever I say.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts about it? You know, coming into it, going out of it, all of that. Let's hear it.
So I haven't had a match on a show yet, but during training, we do have practice matches. So I do kind of take those into consideration, like for my first match on a show. And for my first practice match, I don't remember what classmate it was against, but I remember being so nervous. There wasn't a crowd there. It was just us and Merrick and Matt Mayday, and that was it. But I just remember feeling so nervous because I wanted to show Merrick that I could like apply what I learned. And, you know, sometimes I have trouble remembering things, and these were matches that you called beforehand. So I just remember, you know, worrying if I was going to forget things. And then the match started, and, you know, my posture was kind of bad. I was a little afraid to come out of my shell and be loud in our empty gym. And I was very stiff. It wasn't like terrible in any sense, but like once the match was over, I immediately like started thinking of things that like I could have done better. Like I could have stood up straighter. Like I definitely could have been more loud. Like I needed to loosen up. And I feel like I did the more practice matches we did. But the first one, oh God, it was so nerve-wracking.
No doubt. But, you know, getting through the first one of anything is sometimes the hardest part. You know, for a number of years before doing what I'm doing now, I was a paramedic. And I remember, you know, getting hired and going on my first call as a paramedic and being scared shitless. Yeah. I mean, you know,
I bet that's an important
what am I
job.
doing? Yeah. What am I doing? You know, and but yeah, I mean, you know, it's anything you do, as you do more of it, you get more comfortable in whatever role you're in. Yeah. So.
And it's nice to know that's in like every aspect of life. It's not just wrestling. Like when people
for sure.
like try new things, like start a new job or start a new sport, like they're going to be nervous. And I have to kind of remind myself like that it's not just me. Like everybody was here at one point in the wrestling business, and I just need to kind of like give myself some grace, because I like to just pick myself apart.
Well, you know, we can all be our own worst enemy. I mean, you know, it's easy to get into your own head and start messing with yourself. And, and, you know, you summed it up very well. You've got to give yourself grace. And sometimes it's hard.
Yeah. Crotch, Matt Mayday, he always told me, stop getting in your head. Like, I can see your wheels turning. No more. Yeah. Yep. And he was right. The more I just did things instead of thinking about it, I was able to pick them up really fast. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you to him.
So I know, you know, you don't have a ton of in-ring experience yet, but, you know, in terms of the different ways of preparing for a match, either working it out with your opponent in the back or calling it in the ring. Have you found that you have any kind of preference for how it's done yet?
So all our practice matches were called like beforehand. So I'm the person that likes to ask a lot of questions. Like if
Okay.
something is going to be done, I want it like explained thoroughly, like I want it done right. So, and it's never a bad thing to ask questions. Like
Not at all.
I used to think it was, and I used to be so embarrassed, but that's how things, look good and come to be like the right way. And I just ask a lot of questions about moves and spots and all that. And so I've had a couple shows where I went out like as a manager already. So like preparing for that, like same thing, questions running over the match. Where do I come in? Do you want me to do ABC? Like, and then kind of just sitting there with myself for a little bit, kind of meditating, clearing my head, because my thoughts run wild, whenever I do a practice match or go out there in front of an audience. So I ask a lot of questions with others, and then, after I'm confident, I run it over with myself, kind of sit there with myself, think about all the hard work that it's taken me to get here. And usually I get a little boost of confidence from that, thinking about training and, moving here to do this.
Absolutely. So if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
Oh, great on the mic. 100%. I feel like what you lack in wrestling skill, you can make up on mic. But if you lack on the mic, you can't make it up with wrestling because nobody's going to care because you have no
Right.
personality. They have no character to follow, nobody to relate to. Like you can have a wrestler that, has about 3 moves in their moveset, but they can be so great on the mic that they make you believe that they are the best wrestler that you have ever seen. Like, I think it's awesome what people can do with their mic skills and just run with it. Like Jey Uso's got the world in his hands right now.
Oh yeah,
Like
he is white hot. I mean,
it is
yeah.
insane, and he makes people believe that, and he has a character that people can relate to, and that's what people love because people watch wrestling as an escape from their everyday lives, like
for sure,
including myself. Like that's what I did. It is what I still do sometimes. So.
Oh yeah. Speed round. Candice LeRae.
Pixie.
Yep. Yep. Mrs. Gargano.
Yeah. Mrs. Wrestling.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love her. I also think she is underrated, and I followed her when she was on the indies, and her work is incredible.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had the opportunity the last couple of years to go back and see some of her matches in PWG, for instance, and she is way underrated. I mean, and I don't feel like we've really gotten to see what she's capable of in WWE yet.
No.
Hopefully that'll come. But
yeah, I mean, see, she seems to be on TV a lot more, and they're actually giving her a microphone to work with. And her heel persona is great. Like,
oh, for sure.
She knows how to piss people off, and she has, she's the poison pixie. Like everybody knows that the pixie is Candice LeRae. Like,
yeah.
And that's what I love about like an established character. Like you see Fairy Wings, Candice LeRae's coming out. Like it's awesome.
Yep. For sure.
And she's got a very distinct look too. I love the purple hair. I love her.
Mm-hmm. So, I think based on some earlier comments, I already know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. And that is, do you prefer character-wise working heel or babyface?
Heel.
Yeah. Yeah.
For our practice matches, after we got our partner, we had to run the matches both ways, heel and babyface. And being a babyface felt so forced to me personally because as a person, I am not very optimistic. Like, I'm very much like a pessimist, and I tend to see the worst in things before I see the best in things. I like to complain, and I get mad a lot, and I just feel like as a heel, it just comes so natural to me. Like, as a baby face, I don't really know what to do yet.
Gotcha. So, in terms of your in-ring work and promo work and such, who or what would you say are some of your influences? And when I say what, I'm talking, possibly influences from pop culture, that kind of thing. Who and what has gone into making Tori Fox who she is?
So for promo work, AJ Lee has been my idol since I've been a kid. Her mic work is the best.
Oh, she's fabulous.
She is amazing, so ahead of her time, and cannot give her enough props. Alexa Bliss on the mic as well when she's doing heel work is amazing. Like, you just can't help but hate her. Like, when she did the promo when she was a baby face and then turned heel right in the middle of the promo, I was like, this is genius.
Yeah. She's brilliant.
Yeah, they are so smart. And whenever I watch movies, like, I'm a big chick flick person, very like 2000s chick flick person. So I like to look at the mean girls in those movies and really like study them, because they are just bitches, and you hate them, but you also kind of love them for how mean they are. Like, the Mean Girls movie, like, everybody loves them, even though they were so mean.
I mean, they were so over the top. They were almost a caricature of themselves.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I love that. And that was just, I love that movie. Just, that's like one of my favorite movies. But yeah, definitely like Mean Girls in movies. They are amazing. As far as like in ring, I've been watching a lot of Zelina Vega's work recently. Because she is like not a powerhouse. She's not a high flyer. She is like right in the middle, which I think is kind of where I am right now, because I'm not a powerhouse in any sense. And I'm still getting comfortable with the high flying aspect of wrestling. Like, getting on the top rope is, my legs are still going like this when I'm up there. Like, it's a work in progress. But I feel like she has a really good ground in the middle, and I love that. Charlotte Flair as well in ring. Like, she can do it all. Like, I could be looking for anything, and she'll have it in a match, whether, it be a power move or a corkscrew moonsault or a submission. Like, she absolutely love watching her. Her matches with Becky are my absolute favorite to watch. The chemistry's there, the story's there, and I love it.
Gotcha. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that you can have watched it a million times and it just doesn't get old, and there's always some new little something you can pull from it.
I do, and I make everybody watch it. It's Team Cena versus Team Authority at Survivor Series 2015. That match, just from beginning to end, is a masterpiece to me. I love a good story. And, John Cena being my favorite when I was growing up, they were really making this a big deal. Like, careers were on the line. Like, Triple H and Stephanie might have to step down from power. Like, I hated Seth Rollins at the time for what he was doing.
Yeah.
And Dolph Ziggler's one of my favorites too. So, like, the fact that he had that spotlight shown on him for the match was incredible. And then Sting coming out, I was like, what is going on here? Like, there's so many surprises and like moments that are like, oh, hello, like, what's going on? And that match is a classic for me. Like, I'll never forget watching it live when I had school the next day.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I love it.
Gotcha. I'm going to give you a little bit of homework here. Okay. There is a match that I recommend to any young wrestler who hasn't seen it. You may have to get on YouTube and do some digging around to find it. but there is a match from 1989. It was at a WCW Clash of the Champions show. It was an I Quit match between Ric Flair and Terry Funk. It is a masterclass in storytelling. That is probably my favorite match of all time, and I recommend it to anybody. So, it is well worth your time to do some digging around, find that match and watch it and take notes, because it is absolutely just amazing.
Cool.
So,
I've seen clips from it because, I've heard it's literally a 5-star classic. Like, I try to watch as much wrestling as I can. Sometimes I get burnt out, but
yeah,
I'll add it to the list.
For sure. And also, you probably have seen some of this, but if you haven't seen a lot of it, take some time and go back and watch Rollins when he was Tyler Black in Ring of Honor. I mean,
he was a machine.
Yeah. Yeah. He was, I love the work he's done in WWE, but I'm kind of a Tyler Black guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, just like I love Kevin Owens, but when he was Kevin Steen,
yes,
he was just
my favorite.
Savage. He was a savage. I mean,
he didn't care about anybody.
No.
That's what I aspire to be like.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's actually a perfect segue to the next question. And that is, and this can be present day or past, who would be a dream opponent? Who would Tori Fox love to someday get to work?
Oh gosh, there's so many. There's so many. I gotta go with Charlotte Flair. I mean, she has, made her mark as the greatest women's wrestler of all time.
She checks all the boxes.
Yes, like she is the queen. Everybody knows it. Like she gets what she wants. She doesn't stop at anything. And, they say never meet your idols, but I mean, I already met her. Like when I was like 17. And I told her, I was like, I really want to wrestle. And, she was very supportive. And, I think that would make for a great story. Like little girl meets her idol and then, is headlining a pay-per-view against her. Like,
no doubt.
I want to show her that another generation's taken over.
Absolutely. And, it's cool that, that generation are all sort of at the point where, the next generation is coming up and it's time, to sort of cement your own legacy by starting to put some of these younger people over. So, it's definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
Speed round. Finn Balor.
Demon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His, his.
I miss it.
Yeah, I do too. I'm hoping that it will come back in the proper settings and proper situations.
Me too. He seems to be getting pushed away from the Judgment Day and just on a losing streak, and we all know that he is just so much more than what they're putting out there. Like he never got his redemption for, relinquishing the title after injury. And
no.
He needs to. Like, I feel like that's something he thinks about a lot. Like, because I would.
Well, yeah. I mean, to lose a belt through no fault of your own other than just freak injury, that has to stick in your craw.
All that hard work, yeah. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I hope he gets his redemption because, he's not a spring chicken anymore. Like,
no, he's not.
Unfortunately.
So And again, you're young to the business, so I mean, this question may be a little difficult at this point, but what is your favorite move? What is something that you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you would rather not do, and that can be giving or receiving?
So my favorite move is definitely one of my finishers. I do use the Black Widow as a finisher. I've been practicing it since I was a kid. Being able to get here and actually do it on somebody, like willingly, someone willingly taking it instead of
Yeah.
like my dad. That's awesome. Like, I think it looks cool. The transition into it is cool, like a head scissors into a submission. Like, I just think it looks awesome. And I know I do it well, and that's why I love to do it. And it's kind of like a representation of like, this is really, who got me into women's wrestling. And it's kind of like an ode to AJ. So, as far as moves I won't take, I don't think there is one as of right now. I hate back body drops. I'll throw that out there. I hate them, but I'll do them. I mean, the more I'm like a reps person, so the more I do a move, the more I learn about, how to take it, how to give it. I don't give any body slams, because I can't I don't know actually, because my class was all dudes. So they're in a different weight class than me. Could I give a body slam to someone my weight? Probably, but I don't think I would be confident in it. But
Gotcha. Well, as a fan, a move that has always just given me the shivers when I see it being set up is the vertebreaker.
oh gosh.
I mean, that move just looks like there are just so many ways that it could go catastrophically wrong. I mean, and thankfully you don't see it much anymore.
No.
I mean, back in the Attitude Era, vertebreakers were like suplexes. I mean, you were just seeing those all the time.
Yeah, you just pulled one out at the beginning of a match.
Yeah,
and okay.
But yeah, when I see a vertebreaker being set up, I'm just like, just please don't die.
Yeah,
it's just wow.
There's a lot of moves where I'm still like the Victoria's Widow's Peak is one of my favorites, and it just looks so nasty. I haven't given or taken it yet. I would like to, actually. Like, I think that's a move we kind of don't see as much anymore. But every time I see it, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Speed round. Jordan Grace.
Big in a muscular way, not fat.
Yeah. She
is a unit.
Now that she is in the WWE system, I am dying to see her do a program with Rhea Ripley.
Oh, me too.
I mean, I think those two could tear the house down.
She is the future. Like, that is what a superstar is. And I've heard that like she's an amazing person outside of the ring too.
Oh, I've heard the same thing.
Like when you trust your division with somebody, like they've got to be a good face for it. Like Rhea Ripley carrying the women's division, absolute sweetheart. Same with Cody Rhodes. Like if Jordan Grace, is going to be the future of the women's division, she's got to be as good outside of the ring as she is inside the ring. And I have a lot of respect for her. She's putting women's wrestling even more on the map.
Absolutely. So, you're still very young. So this may not be that much of an issue, but I'll ask it anyway. And that is, what hurts right now?
Oh gosh.
Or what doesn't hurt? I mean,
my arms hurt pretty bad right now. I've gotten a lot muscular through Black and Braves training program, which I am so thankful for. Like, I wasn't very muscular or big when I got here, but I'm putting on some muscle and I'm very proud. And I like to train my arms the most because that seems to be like my weakest feature. So I like to do like an extensive arm workout and work out every muscle in the arms, biceps, triceps, everything. So that's
Gotcha. I know they do a lot of CrossFit there, don't they? Yeah.
Hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
But once you start, you can't stop. It's addicting. You feel so great after it. It pushes you to your absolute limit, and then when you're done, you're like, now I can just go relax. Like, I just did that.
Yep.
It's awesome.
So, what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling?
Oof. I got a lot of mixed feelings about social media. I love it. Yeah. I love it, but I hate it. I know a big thing that's a problem for me is comparing myself to other indie women on the scene. Everything's so accessible on our phones. So, I can just kind of browse through, all the different talent that they have right now. And it's really hard not to compare myself to them. And that's where like giving myself grace comes in. I'm like, I'm literally brand new to this. Like, I just graduated in November, but it really makes my wheels turn and gets me in my own head sometimes. And I have to like try to stop, but I'm so like addicted to my phone. Like, I know I have a problem. Like, I love Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all that, but comparison is the thief of joy, like 100%. And
I like that. Comparison is the thief of joy. Wow.
It's not just me that deals with it. Like, especially in the wrestling business, there's always going to be someone that's better than you in some aspect, on the mic, at a certain move, better with the crowd. Like, and it's just hard, like, to have everything accessible and to be able to look at people and get down on myself. But at the same time, I do love social media because if there's something I want to work on, I can Google it and it's right there for me. There's a step-by-step by like Santino Bros or Nightmare Factory or something. Like, that is something I love about social media, is I can look up a match, when I'm not home, when I'm, waiting for a doctor's appointment or something. Like, I do love that aspect of it.
Gotcha. Looking over at the Instagram chat right now, Midwest Mermaid MKE on Instagram asks this question, and that is, outside of wrestling, what athlete has inspired you the most?
Ooh. 100%. My dad's not going to like this answer anymore, but Aaron Rodgers. He was with the Packers for so long.
Oh, yeah.
They only had one ring. For how good he was, I think that is ridiculous. But he stayed with our team for so long through like every injury, every, trial, tribulation that was thrown at him. And he was very loyal to our team for a very long time. He could have left, the minute he didn't get a ring the second year in a row. And he didn't. Like, he stayed and he helped build our team. And I've just heard that, I don't know so much about anymore because he's kind of a diva now. But when he was with us, like, he built our team. Like, it was all about teamwork. And it's not just about me because I'm the quarterback. Like, we're a team. And
right.
I still like him. Like, I think he kind of deserves to be a diva because he has kind of solidified his place in football history, but very inspiring.
Gotcha. So, like I keep repeating, you're still very young, but if you could give any advice, knowing everything you know at this point in life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Definitely give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance to figure things out when you get there. Not just in wrestling, in all aspects. If I'm not good at something, I will quit it immediately. I was like that as a kid. my mom was putting me in like ballet and like taekwondo and like t-ball, and I quit them all because I wasn't good at them right away. And now that I'm an adult and getting into wrestling, like I could feel that part of me coming out, like I'm not good at this, like quit now. And now I'm like, no, like I gave myself a chance to grow and learn and utilize my coaches and my classmates. And, I don't regret it. Like, I'm happy that I stayed with it, actually stuck with something for once. And yeah, just giving myself a chance on anything is very important to me now.
Gotcha. Well, something that we've done in all of these is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest.
Mm-hmm.
So my previous guest was Drake Holloway. And so the question that he posed for you is, would you rather be a bear or a tiger? And why?
So it's funny because Drake Holloway is my boyfriend.
Right.
So what? A tiger. Lions are my favorite animals. I love big cats. Like we have a cat here at home and I love her. I love cats. But I like the look of a tiger more. I feel like it stands out more, and that's what I do is I stand out, and they kind of solidify their place as like almost the king of the jungle, but not quite there. And
yeah.
I feel like that could be very relevant to my career. So we'll see.
Gotcha. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to pose to the next guest? And the next guest is Merrick Brave.
Oh my God.
So do you have a question? It doesn't have to even be particular to him. It can just be a question, but is there a question you would like to pose?
I want to make it silly for him. I do.
Okay.
I'll try. Let's see. I want to know what is the most memorable thing a student has done to him while in his program, or like just a student has done like in his program, like whether it be like a move gone wrong or a promo that really stuck out to him. I just want to know. Merrick.
Let's see here.
I hope he likes my question.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
He teases me all the time.
Speed round. John Moxley.
Shield.
Yeah.
I feel like he is a really key point missing in this Reigns Rollins storyline. And I don't know if it's like nostalgia talking, but like I just feel like he needs it. He needs to be here for it to be like complete. And I love the work he's doing in AEW. Like, I think he's doing fantastic. I don't think the door is closed for a return. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, but I could see in the following years, like, and I'll be excited. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah. When I think of Moxley, I just think of blood. I mean, literally, if you look at the man wrong, he bleeds.
And his indie matches. Oh my gosh!
Oh, I know.
They are.
I know.
Oh,
yeah. He's been through it.
He's insane, but that's why he's one of the best too. Like,
yeah,
he took risks that no one else wanted to. So, props to him.
For sure. So we're toward the end of things now. So do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
I gotta check the exact date of this, but here in Davenport, we have a promotion that's actually ran by a couple of the students here. And it's called Underground Pro Wrestling. It's in Davenport. We have a show on March 14th. So it's a show where there is no ring.
Okay.
It takes place at like a bar, and it's literally just like the floor that you're working with. And it's no rules and no ring. The crowd's, all into it because they're standing right there. It's insane. But I will be valeting for Calvin Kelly and Drake Holloway that match. So I'm curious to see what kind of stuff they want me involved in, and I'm really excited. I know we have a very special guest on that show too, but I'm not allowed to say anything.
Well, very cool. Very cool. Well, as far as what we've got coming, like I said, Monday the 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I've got episode 88 with Merrick Brave.
And I will be tuning in right on my couch.
Awesome. Awesome. And then Tuesday, I've got to give you some distinction. I've been trying over the time that I've been doing this, but you are actually my first female guest.
Really?
First female wrestler. I've had a female fan on, but you are my first female wrestler, and so I'm very happy about that. But interestingly enough, on Tuesday, the 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I've got episode 89, and I've got a lady named Raina Black. And she is actually the wife of a previous guest of mine, Eric X Black. He's a masked wrestler out of Philadelphia. And he met his wife when they were training together at CZW. And, they've been together for a while, and they finally tied the knot back earlier, I believe summer of last year. So I've got Raina coming on, and then on Thursday, the 27th, I've got another female wrestler, Vera Lestrange.
Oh.
Well,
look at that. We started a trend.
Yeah.
Yay!
You've opened the gates. So
I'm honored.
But anyway, Tori, I want to thank you for your time. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, this has been so fun. I'm so excited that I was able to finally meet and talk to you. So thank you.
And, you can definitely consider yourself part of the Throwdown family now. Yes. You've got a standing invitation to come back anytime you want.
Awesome.
We actually do semi-regular panel discussion shows. And if you're ever wanting to jump on and be a panelist to just nerd out about wrestling, you're more than welcome.
Oh, absolutely. Sounds right up my alley.
This has just really been great. So thank you. And, for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and clips on the web, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe, spread the word. This whole thing has really taken on a life of its own. I've been doing live streaming since January of 2024. I got started actually doing live stream chats with unsigned bands, and I added wrestling back in July, and I discovered it was easier to get bookings on the wrestling side of it than it was with the musicians. So I just basically shifted the focus of things strictly to wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were talking about that opening band for Fozzy, and I really kind of lit up when you were talking about that. I'm a hobbyist bass player, so I love music of all types. So I'm definitely interested to check that band out.
Yeah, they're great.
But anyway, so thank you, and we'll be back, like I said, Monday night with Merrick Brave. Definitely looking forward to that. And in the meantime, love